So with us today we have Sierra, that she is the representative of Biorender. As you know, Biorender is a program that some of us are using to draw very nice images and helping us to draw projects and convey our ideas. She will tell us what are the new features of the Biorender, the basics, and also the new features that they have recently implemented, and how we can take most of the advantage of it. So, as she has said, if you want to ask any question, please write that on the chat if you want, and I will convey to her. And the meeting will, or the presentation, she said, will be lasting around 40 minutes, and then we will have 20 minutes questions. So please, if you want, just we can start.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Anna, for the introduction. I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes, I
Yep.
can.
Okay, perfect. I might also turn off my video just to make sure I don't have any issues with bandwidth and internet. But yeah, thanks so much everybody for joining our session on Biorender today. As a quick introduction, my name is Sierra, and I'm responsible for managing Biorender's relationship with the SIC. So I've already worked with quite a few different institutes across the organization, but I'm super excited to walk you through Biorender today. This call is recorded, so we can send it out after so you can watch it again. But as a quick agenda for today, I'll start off by giving you all a brief introduction to Biorender, kind of who we are, why we exist, how we came to be, and why you should care about this meeting today. Then I'll jump into the platform itself, show you a bit about how it works. I'll basically create a figure live for you all from scratch, and then at the end we can have some time for Q&A. And again, if you have any questions throughout, feel free to come off mute and interrupt me, or Anna will be monitoring the chat. But to summarize it all, communicating science is hard. And if you guys are like most of the research institutes I speak with, and I'll go out on a limb and assume that you are, you probably don't love making figures for your research. You spend weeks, months, even years conducting experiments, gathering data, analyzing your results, writing your manuscript, building presentations. But when it's time to publish or present at a conference, what happens? You open up PowerPoint and create something that looks kind of like this. Now, this works. If you take the time to really analyze this figure, you can understand the concept, but let's be honest, it's probably not going to win any design awards. And more importantly, it likely doesn't accurately represent the quality of the research that you're doing. So maybe you're currently using PowerPoint, making your figures manually with basic shapes and lines here. Or maybe it's pieced together with whatever tools you have on hand, making your figure look a little bit clunky, a little hard to follow, and you end up with something that looks a little bit Frankensteined together. And if you've ever tried to put something together like this or made something like this, I'm sure you can just appreciate how time consuming it is and what a pain it can be. And maybe just one last example to kind of drive the point home, but relatively speaking, this is actually quite a good figure. It's clear enough. But we spoke with the person who made this, and they said it took them several hours to put together. So a huge time suck compared to what it could be. And truth be told, we can't really, blame anyone for doing things this way. Using PowerPoint to manually build scientific figures has kind of become the standard. And really, that's just because until recently, there hasn't been a better way to do things. And so at Biorender, we actually estimate that scientists collectively waste more than 1 billion hours per year making their figures in these tools like PowerPoint or Illustrator. And again, these tools aren't designed for scientists. So that's a whole lot of time that could be better spent doing research or doing more other impactful things that can actually, push your science forward. And so that's why we created Biorender, to make it easy for any researcher, regardless of artistic ability, to create beautiful, repeatable, scientifically accurate graphics in literally just a couple of minutes. And I'll show you creating a figure live from scratch in just a few moments. So at this point, we've made 50,000 plus pre-made icons and templates across just about every field of life science and every type of figure that you can imagine. Basically, what we've done is we've drawn all the pieces for you. we've drawn all the cells, receptors, lab equipment, you name it. And as a user, you just have to search through our library, drag and drop, and you can create a beautiful figure like this one that you see here on the right. Now, both of these figures on the slide are actually trying to communicate the exact same concept, but which one is catching your eye more, and which one makes the idea a little bit easier to grasp? It's clear that it's the one on the right, and it literally just took a few minutes to create. And another example here on the right, this one was put together in literally just a few minutes as well, compared to, quite a few hours in Adobe. And then a final example showing that protocol example from before. So can be building out some protocol figures as well in Biorender. Now, when I speak with most scientists about where they're making figures, they usually think about, these three main use cases: presentations, grant applications, and publications. So basically the core areas of communicating their research. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that historically there just hasn't been an easy way to make science figures. And so a lot of scientists will outright tell me, unless they absolutely have to, they kind of avoid creating new figures. If there isn't one already that's floating around in their department or group that fits their needs, they'll just skip it and explain their concept with text only. And honestly, I get it, because no one wants to spend hours in PowerPoint only to end up with something they're not even happy with. So they leave their figures for the most significant publications or presentations. But interestingly, what we see when people start using Biorender is that they begin to incorporate it into all sorts of places they weren't even using figures before. So a few examples, like lab and team meetings are actually by far one of our biggest use cases. Researchers are using Biorender just to keep regular updates visual and clear, so they can maintain more of a working model of their research as it continues to evolve within their lab. Another interesting one is email updates. So instead of spending a long time writing out a very long, highly technical email to explain your research update, only to get a reply back from your colleagues with, 10 follow-up questions, now you can just quickly throw together a figure in 5 minutes, drop it into an email, and make sure everybody's immediately on the same page. And then maybe one more use case worth highlighting is onboarding and training materials. Biorender is perfect for creating process diagrams, experimental guides, protocols. I'm sure many of you have seen years old protocols floating around your labs with, scribbled notes, things crossed out, photocopied edits. And that was, definitely my experience when I was working in a lab. But with Biorender, you can create a clean, up-to-date version of your protocols and use them as like a central editable repository. And then that way, if anybody new joins the lab, they'll always have access to the latest, most clear version. So really, anywhere that you can use a figure to explain a scientific concept, you can, and people already are kind of using Biorender to do that. And now, before we jump into the live demo, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge some of the partnerships that we've already built across the SIC. And you guys may recognize a few of the institutes here. So each of these groups is already using Biorender in meaningful ways to create high impact visuals for their publications, to streamline their internal communication, simplify their training processes. And so we're happy to kind of support research across this incredible network, and really excited to keep building on that foundation and bringing Biorender to more groups across the SIC. And then I did a very quick dive onto Google Scholar to see some of the work that's being done at ICMAB, and some of the work that's being communicated with Biorender. And so maybe you guys recognize some of the figures up here, but some really incredible work being done across your institute. And so these are just some of the images that were being created within Biorender right at home. So as you can see, you can really see the power of Biorender and how it can help you create these beautiful, clear illustrations from, complex signaling pathways, experimental workflows, pipelines, protocols. So that was really kind of awesome to see. Okay, so that was the presentation. Now I'll just jump into Biorender itself. So Biorender is a web-based application. So all you have to do to access it is go to our website and then click sign in. So no need to download anything. You can access the platform from anywhere. This will take you straight to your homepage. So this is the gallery view. All of the images that you create will be auto-saved down here. So these are all the images that I've created. And this is a great time for me to emphasize that I am not a scientist. I have not a strong science background, and I'm also not a graphic designer. So if I was able to create figures like these, you'll be able to create them as well. I also share that Biorender is highly collaborative. So if you want to work on a file with a colleague, all you have to do is click these three dots here and then click share. And then you can just find your colleague's email, send them an invite, and then we can work on the figure together. They can see the version histories, they can create their own copy, they can leave comments. So really kind of fosters more of a collaborative environment to work on your figures together. So there's a couple different ways you can start a figure. You can start from scratch over here, creating one from brand new, or you can head over to our Biorender templates. So our medical illustration team is adding to this library every single day, and they go through rigorous review to ensure that everything that they're creating is scientifically accurate and relevant. So there's no concerns about if what we're creating is, inaccurate. We have a bunch of different categories of templates, so you can search through some of these. I think I saw that some folks within ICMAB are doing cancer research, so you can start off by searching through what we have related to cancer or even chemistry. You can start by, searching here. But I find that the best way to kind of search our template library is to just go to the top and search any keywords. So I think I saw that you guys do work involving, let's see, if we search up cancer, and that'll show us all of the figures that we have that are tagged for cancer research. I saw you guys also do work involving drug delivery, so let's see what shows up. So here's all the templates that we have related to drug delivery. But Kira, oh,
One
go ahead.
question. Yes, I'm Anna. I have a question
Yep.
regarding the copyright or because I tried to, for instance, to use one of these templates, and in some of them they were groups or they were kind of belonging to a previous illustration. I don't know what is the possibility to change a template or not change
Mhm.
it.
Yep, that's a great question. So if you choose to use a template, you can edit every single element. So I'll show you that in a moment, that everything is completely customizable. So if you take a template, you can just modify it to kind of relay whatever you're hoping to convey, and then you own the copyright for that image. So I'll show you how to get access to a publication license, and then you can use that for any external source. And you own the rights to that image as well. You'll just have to cite Biorender in the publication or where you're using that image. Perfect. Any other questions?
No, there's no questions in so far in the chat.
Perfect. Perfect. And I'm curious, like what keywords would you guys search to see if we have something relevant to your work? I'd be happy to kind of search some up here live.
Anyone has wants that Sierra makes a figure from their own research? No questions?
I think I saw you guys do
Oh,
nanoparticle work, so let's see if.
yes. I mean, I work with C. elegans. There are plenty of data of C. elegans. I have created plenty and also polymers, maybe dendrimers. There's some person that asked for dendrimers. So add dendrimers.
Is that spelling correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what comes up. A lot of nanoparticle work. Hopefully this is looking relevant. Any other keywords we're hoping to search?
CAR T cells.
CAR T cell, let's see. Awesome. Yeah, quite a bit here for CAR T cell work.
Organoids.
I
They are,
love the
wow.
organ.
Wow, one
Yeah.
that is, do you see the chat? No, yes, you
No,
see.
I can't. I appreciate your
Okay,
help, Anna.
I don't know the name of cell battery. Schwargelok cell battery.
Awesome. So this is what we have. The more deep you go, the probably less things that will pop up. But a great place to start by searching is really looking at the template library. So that just shows you like what we have already kind of built out. And again, once you kind of click on one of these, all you have to do is click use template, and then everything will be completely customizable. Um, awesome. But I'm actually going to
Mhm.
start by creating a figure from scratch for you all. So all you have to do is go to create new and then go to illustration. And that takes you to our canvas view here. So just want to get you guys quickly oriented in the platform. One thing I always love to point out is down here is our help button in the bottom corner. So we have a really complete customer experience team, and they're available, pretty much all hours of the day. So if there's anything that you have questions about as you're getting started, a really good place to start. Ask your questions here. That will go directly to our help team. Um, and so the bulk of the platform and what you're all really here for, it lives on the left-hand side. So this is where all of our icons, templates, brushes, everything is stored. And as I mentioned, we have more than 50,000 icons covering pretty much every field of life sciences. So that's a lot of icons, but thankfully they've all been categorized. So that really helps us kind of narrow our search a little bit more. So you can see that we even have a nanoparticle um, folder here as well. So you can start by looking through some of the folders, whether that be, you want to search for some, relevant lab equipment. That's a good place to start. Or, maybe it's more biology focused. You want to look for certain cell types. So that's a good starting place is kind of hunting through the different folders. But again, everything is tagged. So if you want to just search up here, you can see all of the icons that pop up just by searching. And to get started, all you need to do is drag and drop onto the canvas. And once I click on that, you can see that a bunch of options pop up on the side to, change the color of the icon. You can add a color overlay. You can change the transparency of it, the saturation, make it brighter. So there's quite a few different things that we can do here. You'll notice as well that we have a few different icon types. So this is what we call our basic icon. It's got a blue box around it, but we have some more um, complicated icons that have a purple box around it. We call these our grouped icons. So if I double click in, you can see that you can edit all of the individual pieces here. So let's say I want to maybe change the color of this. Maybe I want to, you know, delete these. They're not relevant to what I'm working on. Or maybe I want to change the color of all of these units on the outside here. I can click that, go to um, over here, change the color. So, and then once I click away, this moves as a individual unit as well. So they're pretty much a collection of basic icons that kind of work together, but everything in here is completely customizable. So those are the two main basic icons that we have, but now I'll start by making a figure from scratch. And let's see, maybe we want to start off with some cancer cells. Again, tons of different icons I can choose to start from for cancer cells. Maybe I want to use this one. So I can just blow that up a little bit. And maybe, I don't want these cell types to be blue. Maybe I want them to be a different one. So I can just click that, go up to select same icons, and maybe I'd rather these cells be orange. Can click that away. Let's see. Perfect. And then maybe I want to add a nanoparticle interacting here. Again, a ton of different options I can work with. Let's just maybe go with this one, drag and drop. And maybe I want to include a receptor to show these two interacting, so I can search up receptor. A ton of different options I can choose from. I can drag and drop this here. And I can click in here. Maybe I don't need this ligand, so I can exit that. And again, I will reiterate that I'm not a scientist, so bear with me if what I'm creating is not fully scientifically accurate. You guys are the experts here. But let's see, maybe I can have these two interacting like that. Perfect. And here, let's maybe make this a bit smaller. And a good design trick that our design team has kind of shared with us that I typically adopt quite a bit is using a call out. So now what I can do is I can search over here for a call out. And then that's a good way to kind of show something more close up. Yeah, let's move this over. Perfect, like so. And then I can just copy paste this over here, blow it up a bit. And then crop this to fit in my callout box. Maybe I want to grab that receptor again. And add my perfect. Maybe awesome. Maybe I want to start labeling a few things. So we have a bunch of different lines, arrows, basic shapes up here as well. So we know that scientists love to label things with arrows and lines. So we have a bunch of different options available here. So maybe I want to choose this one to kind of point to something. Perfect. And now I can add text as well to start adding some labels to this figure. And as over here, we can change the fonts we have available, the size of the font. And I can just add that. And maybe I want to include another label, can easily just copy paste, flip this around, and then add another label. Perfect. So in just a couple minutes, I was able to put something together that looks pretty good. Obviously could spend a little bit longer tweaking it, changing the colors, making sure it really matches what I'm hoping to convey here. Um, and you know, the nice thing about Biorender is that once you make something, you'll never have to create that figure ever again. So let's say I want to keep using this image in my future presentations, or I want to share it with a colleague. All I have to do is highlight this whole thing, and then up at the top, I can click favorite, And then this adds this, this figure to my favorites tab over here. So now I can just go over here, drag and drop, and use this over and over again. So I'll never have to build that out again. I can just easily add it to a presentation that I might need. And the nice thing about this as well is that you can share these favorited icons with colleagues as well. So let's say that, a colleague needs to build out a presentation on something we're working on collaboratively. I can share that easily with them so that they don't even have to worry about building it. And we can kind of, the nice thing is that Biorender, it helps kind of build a standard visual language for the research being done in your group or across the institute. And that way it becomes really easy to kind of glance at the screen, a page or, a presentation and just kind of immediately understand what's being communicated and what the message is. So that's kind of building a figure from scratch. Another icon type I wanted to highlight for you guys is a really cool one that I didn't have a chance to show with this figure, is what we call our bio brushes. So especially if you're doing work involving membranes, this is when this icon type is super helpful. So if you've ever tried to draw a phospholipid bilayer in PowerPoint, I'm sure you know how annoying it was to kind of copy paste those icons over and over. But now with brushes, you can really kind of build a custom shape for that membrane. So you can show, receptors on that surface and really kind of make that custom. We have circular brushes as well. So all you have to do is click here to cut it, and then you can, adjust that or, make it a different length as well, like this. So we have a few different brush types. We have membranes. Another one we have is DNA strands, quite a few different types of DNA strands. So that can be adjusted, customized as well. And then we also have cell brushes, which are cool if you're doing anything that needs like epithelial layers as well. Quite a few options there. So these are my favorite type of icon just because they can be really easily customized and updated. Let's see. And one more area of the canvas maybe worth showing is our PDB integration. So we have a full integration with the PDB database. So all you have to do is click PDB retrieve. If any of you guys are working with proteins, all you'll need to know is the 4-digit PDB ID. Let's use an example one here that they've given us. And so that will load it here in the viewer. You can change the cartoon type here to be whatever you need, and the color style to maybe match whatever's important to your research. And once you're happy with how that looks, you just click Save New Icon, and then that gets stored over here, and you can add that to your canvas as well. Awesome. So that's just making things from scratch. But again, we have a ton of different templates that you can use, and they operate very similarly to the icons as well. So if we searched, let's see, keeping with the nanoparticle theme here, all of the icons are stored on this side. You just move over to templates, and you can see that I can, build them to add them to my my canvas as well. And as you can see, I took inspiration from one of our templates here. So I can just click on this one, add to canvas, and then, so didn't even have to build this figure because it already existed in our template gallery, which is awesome. And so again, a template is just kind of like a large grouped icon. Everything in here can be edited. So if I want to change, the color of this, if I want to change these individual elements, I can move everything. I can delete whole sections if they're not relevant to what I'm working on. And again, once I'm happy with it, I just click done, and then we're pretty much good to go there. So I know I showed you quite a few different things, but is anybody curious about the different icons we have, any keywords they'd want me to search to see if we might have it in our database, or yeah, or if any other questions, I'd be happy to kind of address them now.
Thank you, Sierra. I have a question regarding, so far there's no questions in the chat. I
Okay.
have just a question regarding I think you had a new feature that was related to statistics or graphs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, can you comment on that?
Yep. I'll just wrap up here on the canvas and then I'll
Okay.
jump over to the
So
graphic
anyone
side.
has any keyword that wants that Sierra looks for? No comments so far.
Okay.
Okay.
No worries. Thanks, Anna, for checking. Appreciate that. One thing I will say is once the group is set up on a group license, if there's anything you're working on that's more niche or you've searched through our library and we don't have that and you're just, something that would be super helpful for your research, what you can do is click down here and go to request a custom icon. This request goes directly to our medical illustration team. So they'll just want a little bit of info from you, maybe some examples of what you're looking for, and then they'll work on drawing that, building it out, and then adding it to the library. And then you
There's a
can,
question
yep.
regarding if this is possible to make for in the pro or free version.
Which part? Sorry.
I understand the icons.
Custom requests are just for people on premium and for just
Mm-hmm.
folks on the group license. So you'd have to be set up um, like the partnerships we have with the other THSIC institutes. Those groups can request icons just because we have limited resources. So
Okay, so
only,
you
yeah.
can request icons if you have a pro version, but in the drawings of the figures that you just made, all these templates and figures, they are available on the free version, right?
Yep, on the free version, you can make up to 5 illustrations, but
Right.
quite a few of our templates are not available on the free version. And
Mm-hmm.
also an important distinction is that on the free version, you don't own anything that you create. So you don't own any of the intellectual property or the content you create. So you can't use it for any publications, pretty much anything externally. And quite a few of our features are limited as well. There's no brushes. So you can, the demo version, the free version is a great way to kind of play around and see if the content is relevant to what you want to do and kind of get an understanding of the platform. But once you really need to build out things with this level of complexity is when you kind of move over to the premium version.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Happy to take more questions. So feel free to stop me at any point if there's anything you guys are curious about. Would happy to search that for you guys. Okay, awesome. So let's say I'm done with my figure. I'm happy with this, and this is what I want to use. There's a few different things that I can do here. So for one, you can present directly within Biorender. So let's say you've built out a whole presentation. You can go into presenter mode and speak to your slides from here. Another thing you can do is export that file. So once you do that, oh, it wants me to name it Demo June 10. So you can download this directly as a PowerPoint file, or once you download it as a more static image, PNG, maybe let's see, export um, PNG. This is where you get your publication permissions. So you just click to have a publication license with this export, and then you just hold on to that, and then you can publish this figure, use it for whatever you need. So with PowerPoint, you might have seen that we have this button here, copy to PowerPoint. So I'm not sure if I'm hopefully logged in here, but let's see. If we export this slide to PowerPoint, we now have a integration with Microsoft PowerPoint where, oh, let me make sure I'm saved the correct version. Bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Perfect. So when you save to PowerPoint, all of the elements can be kind of moved, changed around as well. So if you want to really build out a presentation that has animation, you can do that as well. You can start adding, your effects here to kind of really help tell the story that you want to convey. So all of these two software kind of communicate with each other. Let's see. So yeah, we have an integration with PowerPoint. So if you make any changes to your Biorender figure, oh, I'm not logged in, so I'll save you the trouble. But if I make any changes to my Biorender figure, once I click save, there'll be an update button over here, and those changes will be automatically reflected in your PowerPoint slides. So it really kind of helps saving from going back, exporting the file, pasting it. Now the two will just be, communicating, and it'll be automatically updated in your slides to kind of really help streamline that process of building out presentations as well. So that's presentations. The other things you can do is you can share this with your team. Again, if I shared this with a colleague, they would have access to this file. I can just give them a version where they can just view it so they can't edit anything. But then they can come on here and then leave comments. So you can just, oops, Garrett. My colleagues can leave comments, then we can reply, work on something together so that we can, be happy with the end result together. Perfect. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you in our standard Canvas view. But if I go back to gallery, as Anna mentioned, we do have new graphing functionality, which I'll show you quickly. So when you go to create new, instead of doing illustration, you can just go down to graph. And so this is our new graph and data analysis section of the platform. So now we're not just exclusively for figures or illustrations, but you can also graph your data and do, statistical analysis directly within the platform. I'm not sure what you guys are using. Maybe it's Excel or maybe GraphPad, but we've heard that sometimes GraphPad can be rigid about the data formatting of when you have to upload it. But we have smart data import, so you can upload your data pretty much in any format with a variety of file types to get started. Or you can start from a specific graph type. So I'll show you maybe 2 independent variables as an example. If I click create, it's just going to put in some test or example data that we have to get you started. So this can be easily deleted. You can copy paste your data in quite easily. But if I just click graph, it already graphs that data for me super quickly. So it gives a few different graph types. So I can change that up here. Maybe I want to change it to violin or a different data type. And it wouldn't be Biorender if you couldn't also completely customize the colors as well. So we have a lot of different color themes, even a boba milk tea themed one. So you can change all of these colors. Again, you can customize that. All of the labels can be easily changed as well. And then an additional thing you can do is run statistical analyses on that data. So to do that, all you have to do is go to Add Analysis. Biorender is going to suggest what it recommends. So here it suggests a two-way ANOVA. Click Continue. And let's do a comparison test for all of the groups that we have. And then click Run. And so in 2 seconds, it was able to do that for me. This is all being run on top of our programming language. So it gives you all of the analysis here for you. And if we go back to our graph, it was able to add that analysis to our graph. So as you can see, in just a minute or so, was able to put a graph together that looks pretty good. I could spend a little bit longer, adjusting the text or the colors or however I want. But again, I just have to click Export Demo File. And again, can export that, use that wherever I might need to do. Any questions about the graphing side? We'd be happy to kind of answer that as well.
Nice for me. I was not aware of all the functionalities that you could do on the graphing and the statistic analysis as well. Any questions of anyone that is in the seminar? That you have a doubt, you want to ask any questions to Sierra? So far, no.
Okay, no worries. If there's any questions later, as Anna said, you can feel free to send me an
Yes.
email. Happy to address those. But yeah, this is one of our newer
I have a
functionality.
question. There's one person. You can
Okay.
unmute Nuria if you want. Let's check if you can unmute. If not, I can convey the question. Nuria? Can you upload image vectors created in other programs?
Yep, so you can upload images to Biorender as well, which is very easy to do. So let's maybe go back to my Canvas file. So if you're creating things in other software that you kind of want to add to Biorender, you can, start building it out elsewhere and then import it over here. My internet is being slow. There we go. So let's say I want to add something here. You can just go over to Uploads, upload a file, can kind of add whatever you need. I'm not sure what I have over here. But once it's uploaded, you can just drag that and drop that onto your canvas as well. Let's see. Oh, I have a other CSIC logo. So ta-da. Hopefully that answers the question. Awesome. Maybe another quick thing to show that I have a couple minutes, but we also have a built-out poster builder within Biorender. So I remember vividly when I was in research how annoying it was to build a poster in PowerPoint. So we've kind of helped save that a bit with our poster builder. So we can create a CSIC custom one as well, or you can just use some of the examples that we have, add your institute logo. But here, all of these boxes, they move together as a unit. So, let's say you want to delete this section, you can do that. Everything kind of adjusts to fill the space. So you can just kind of readjust things. And then let's say I want to add the data that I just put together. I just click that and it gets added to the poster. So you can see I can add Biorender images quite quickly. And a poster can come together much faster than it would be within PowerPoint. So just another kind of fun section of the platform that some people might not know about. So I wanted to quickly show you that as well. And so I think that quickly summarizes it. Let's give it a name. Again, there's a lot of other smaller, more quirky things in the platform as well. If the group is set up on a group license, you'd get access to dedicated training sessions where they'd really show you a much deeper dive into, the graphing section of the platform to make sure you guys aren't missing anything, or the new launches that we're having. They would run those sessions quite frequently just to make sure you guys are, really understanding all of the pockets of the platform. We're constantly updating it to make sure it's as useful and relevant for you guys as possible. So we find those sessions to be helpful as well.
Thank you. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Awesome. So maybe I'll stop sharing my screen so I can see you guys again.
Now you see a bunch of names.
Hi, guys.
Yes. Any question? Any doubt for Sierra? When we create there's a question. When we create an illustrated, is it available to every user?
So your gallery will be private to you. Only you will be able to see what you create unless you provide sharing permissions to others. So everything would be nobody else can see what you create. But if you click on those three dots and click share, then that person will be able to see what you work on.
Thank you. Please.
No problem.
Thank you.
And I'm curious, how's your experience been using Biorender for your work at ICMAB?
I think in our lab people has really changed, and all the figures are nearly now done on Biorender, and for that reason also we have a license. We have a group license, and we think that it's much easier and faster. So even myself, that I'm at the end now, also I even can do some drawings. It's not only a student, so even myself can. But also we are combining. I think these new features of combining it to PowerPoint, that I was not fully aware of that, and maybe running some graphs and statistics are very helpful and makes the biorender more robust. I mean, it's the nice thing is also web-based, that we don't need to have anything downloaded. For us, I think there are quite a few people from our group, so also they can comment, but I think we are very happy to be using that. We don't know if there's any other software as well, but we have been trying this one and we are very happy with Biorender. That's true that I'm not sure, as a question that I wanted to ask, if, for instance, as you know, we are a material science institute, imagine that is anyone that wants to say, I don't know, draw a carbon nanotube or a more specific, more inorganic materials. Would that customer serve Well, you said that they could draw some graphs or some icons for you. Could they draw that too, or is it mainly more for biological settings or drawings?
I'd say our origin was much more on the biological side. Like I think when we were starting off 6, 7
Yeah.
years ago, we were really focused on that. And I think our library is really robust on that side. But as we're kind of growing and maturing as a company, we're trying to, encompass some other fields as well. So that's why it's helpful for people to kind of search through the library and tell us if there's any areas that are missing, and then we really take those requests to heart to kind of build out the library further. So I think there was already some content relevant to that, but would be helpful for people to kind of search and see if it would be relevant, and then we take that feedback, and we have a pretty robust illustration team that's working every day to draw out new things. So
Okay, good to know. There's another question. How does the backup system in BioRender, wait, how does the backup system in BioRender work? Or how can I recover the previous versions of a file, especially if for a shared pictures?
hmm So your biorender figures are saved automatically, I think every 2 minutes. So it's not showing you, but every 2 minutes it's saving a version. So if your computer crashes, the only thing you would lose is up to 2 minutes of work, thankfully. But let's say you want to go back, you can find version histories. Let me see if I can show that quickly. Let's say you liked a previous version. Um, yeah, let me just share my screen again. Here, I just clicked this button here. See, last saved a few seconds ago. I can see all the version histories here. Let's say I liked this version better. I can just make a copy of this version and recover that as well. So there shouldn't be any concerns over lost work. Um, you can always retrieve previous versions, and Biorender is constantly saving your work in the background, so you shouldn't lose anything.
Okay, nice. Thank you. That was the comment.
Perfect. Awesome. And I didn't have time, but we also have some new AI related functionality that's kind of in the forefront of our software engineers' minds. So we're finding ways to make Biorender quicker, faster, without really compromising scientific accuracy. So all of our AI functionality is optional. So we'll never use it without the user's consent. But it will build figures now from our library. So we have text to image prompts where we're still building this out, but it should make it even quicker to kind of build out figures as well.
Mhm.
So just wanted to comment, that's something that the team is actively working on. So if we had access, if the group was set up with those training webinars, I'm sure there would be AI focused ones throughout the year as well to kind of showcase how to make this process even faster for you guys.
Okay. I have a question regarding the copyright that you said the permission to use the image that you are creating. When you put an export, you tick the box and say public or publication permission or something like that.
hmm
Is that what it entails exactly? I mean, does it mean that your figure then is protected? It has a DOI or how it works? Because I know that in the publications you were mentioning we should name Biorender, but what does entails this publication license?
hmm I think it's just something that you hold on to as just like as you're going to use it. I don't think it needs to be published anywhere. That's just for your own keeping. And then it's super easy to cite Biorender. You just somewhere in the publication wrote created in Biorender. There's a web page that showcases how to cite Biorender. It's really straightforward. But that's essentially it. Like you just have to reference Biorender in the publication. But even after maybe if you leave Biorender Premium, you don't have to pay indefinitely. Once you have that publication license, you own the copyright of that figure indefinitely. So you can use it even beyond being on an active license, if that makes sense.
But the copyright, do you own it because you publish it in that journal or in that paper, or is the copyright of the figure?
Yep, you own it regardless if you publish or not, because
Okay.
yep, it's tied back to your individual account.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Perfect.
Any other questions? You can unmute yourself if you want to ask questions, or you can write it. And if there's no questions, uh, also I can share the contact of Sierra. We are, as most of you know, some groups have, we bought a license. We were sending some emails to show interest, and this seminar was in the order to try to gauge the interest of the ICMAB, and then also you can ask your group supervisors or IPs that if it's something that you want to try as a free version and then go to a pro version, or just check it. So just email Sierra or myself if you need any information, and I can forward to her. And I think from our side, it would be all. If there's no more questions, doesn't seem so. So thank you very much, Sierra, for thanks for the talk. There's questions, many
Okay,
people mentioning. So thank you very much. And thank you for accepting to give us this seminar for us and to show all the new functionalities. And we will in touch. Okay.
perfect. Thanks,
Thank you
Anna.
very much.
Lovely chatting with you all, and yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day.